Hey everyone, welcome back to the Glass Seats podcast. This is our show where two hockey aficionados discuss their perspectives on headlines surrounding the NHL, including recent stories, game highlights, league culture, and other topics trending amongst the fans. This is Viddy.
And my name is Mrinal, and this week, welcome back everybody.
Welcome back. It's been a minute.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, 2024. How's your New Year been?
It's been all right.
Yeah.
It's been all right. I hope you all enjoyed our recorded episodes discussing every single team in the NHL.
Yeah.
But it's been 2 weeks of the new year.
I feel like so much has happened already.
A lot has happened already.
You catch the Winter Classic game?
Oh,
Vegas,
yeah.
Seattle?
Yeah. Parts of it.
I thought it was actually pretty good. I love watching Vegas lose, so I can't really,
that part of the fan in you is coming out.
Yeah, but I thought it was cool. A lot of people were like mad about it being like two not historic teams, but I think it's good for the game.
Yeah. I actually lived in Seattle for 2 years, as you know, and seeing that city get so riled up over the sports team was super cool.
Yeah.
When I was living there, they didn't have the Kraken weren't there yet.
Yeah.
So
there was rumors though about a team coming, right?
Yes, they knew the team was going to come.
Yeah.
But because of the pandemic and everything, it didn't happen while I was living there.
Yeah.
So the team I used to get riled up for like Sounders games.
Yeah.
And like the baseball team.
Mm-hmm. The Mariners?
The Mariners, yeah. The Seahawks were iffy when I was there.
Yeah. Still are.
Yeah. But seeing that joy in hockey and such a big event like the Winter Classic, and that's seeing a venue that I've been to, T-Mobile Arena.
Yeah.
It was super cool.
Yeah. Really cool. Yeah.
So props to the NHL for getting a team that's not Chicago or Boston in the Winter Classic.
Thank God. Or Pittsburgh. Yeah. Yeah. Thank God.
All right. So what are we going to talk about? We just said that a lot has been happened.
Mm-hmm.
So this episode, we're going to be focusing a little bit on Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And because a lot has happened in Toronto, a lot's been happening in Winnipeg. And to end out this episode, we got a few goalie stories to get to.
Yeah.
Well, so starting in the center of the hockey world, Toronto.
Yep.
The big news is William Nylander's contract signing.
Yeah.
But before we get there, we have to talk Toronto goaltending.
Yeah. It's been interesting, to say the least.
So they're going into the season.
Mm-hmm.
They thought their starter was going to be Ilya Samsonov.
Yeah.
Who had a great season last season. Toronto finally gets out of the first round, loses in the second, but progress, right?
Yeah.
Progress.
Very, very slow progress. Yeah.
This season, Samsonov has just not been good.
No.
He was placed on waivers on January 1st to be sent down to the AHL.
Yeah.
Replaced by Dennis Hildeby, who was called up. He was down in the AHL for about 10 days.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Nobody took him. He passed through waivers.
He cleared waivers. So that means no team in the NHL wanted him.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you follow this, but there's some theories that, not even theories, like the Steve Dangle podcast has confirmed this, and that sometimes GMs will claim waiver players from Toronto just to mess with Toronto.
Actually?
Yeah, because it's Toronto.
Wow, no, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Why Toronto? Why
because
not?
Toronto's the center of the hockey world, and
right,
a lot of these people have come from Toronto, right? So they're more competitive against the Leafs.
Oh.
Plus,
so it's just a petty thing.
Yeah, and I think also while Dubas was there, a lot of people were like, who is this young gun? You know?
So it's hazing in a weird way.
And because Toronto's so cap strapped, they can't do anything about it.
Yeah, that's true.
But anyway, despite all that, Samsonov clears waivers.
Yeah.
Gets to the AHL, spends 10 days there, comes back to the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
His stats in the NHL this year, 15 games played, 5 wins, 3.94 goals against average, and .862 save percentage.
Mm-hmm. Not great.
Those might be out of date by the time you're listening to this, but at the time of recording, that's what I have. The sad part for him is the man he has lost his job to. It's Martin Jones.
The one and only. Yeah. Very interesting. I actually have been, as soon as I heard about this, I started paying attention to more Toronto games. And given that, we're on the West Coast, we can't watch those games as easily. Restrictions, blackouts, whatever, and time zone change.
I mean, you don't have to watch the whole game. Just look at the highlights.
Yeah. I've been watching the highlights, and from what I've seen, he's either been absolutely stellar or he's been letting in beach ball goals. And
sounds like Martin
Jones, right?
Yeah.
But at this point, it's an improvement over their situation with Samsonov, which leads me to ask, are they screwed if they this is not sustainable for a deep playoff run?
I mean, they're waiting for Joseph Woll to come back from injury. Right?
Okay.
Woll was a starter before he got injured, and then they had to use Samsonov.
Yes.
And he wasn't good.
Yeah.
And now Martin Jones is hot and running with it.
Yeah.
Also, Martin Jones has a .928 save percentage.
Yeah.
What the hell?
The last time he was this good was like what, 2017?
Like 16 maybe?
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a minute.
Didn't we just have this whole conversation with Aiden Hill and leaving the Sharks?
Just turning into God himself, yeah. Yeah. As soon as the San Jose jersey comes off, the player becomes good, unless you're Erik Karlsson. But,
I'm mentally preparing for the Sharks to trade Kaapo Kakkonen for him to suddenly become the best goalie in the league.
To become Tim Thomas. Again.
Yeah, and for Mackenzie Blackwood to turn into a pumpkin.
Yeah.
Which is what's going to happen, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He wasn't even good or he wasn't great in Minnesota, and came to San Jose, still wasn't great, but as soon as he leaves, watch him become a star. So,
I know.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
Anyway, my trauma aside.
Yeah.
Toronto might be in the market for at least a backup goalie, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you need 3 goalies? I guess that's the question. Let's say Samsonov doesn't recover. And I think their best scenario is that Samsonov recovers and he's playable come playoff time.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, then you're looking at a tandem of Joseph Woll, who's a rookie, and Martin Jones.
Yeah.
Not bad for the playoffs.
You think they're going to just cycle through him? There's not going to be a starter?
I would assume Woll gets back the starter position, or at least a chance to win it back. And let's be honest, we're all waiting for the other shoe to drop on Martin Jones, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to go on forever.
No, it's not. Because this is what Martin Jones does best. He gets really hot. He builds some confidence in, within the team, within the locker room, whatever. And then he blows it. Unfortunately, he blows it. And this is why he also was bought out in San Jose. That's why his tenure in Philly didn't last very long, and in Seattle didn't last very long. And that's why he was brought in as a backup for Toronto. So,
and I think we also need to speak about how well the Maple Leafs defense has been playing. Like, the saves Jones is expected to make aren't insane.
Yeah.
So they're doing a good job limiting high danger chances.
Yeah.
And honestly, it might have to do with the fact that Klingberg is injured and out of the lineup. Just saying.
Yeah.
That was a bad signing.
Yeah, that's not looking good. And honestly, I remember when Klingberg was about to get a monster contract from the Stars, I think it was.
Yeah, so the Stars wanted to extend it for 7, and he said, no, I want 8. Yeah. And then he was out, and now he's just tanked his value.
Yeah, and Dallas is doing fine without him. Great without him.
Yeah.
So
should have signed that deal in
Dallas.
Should have
signed, yeah. That's called fumbling the bag. But, Klingberg side, it's not, Toronto's defense is not looking like, it's fine, but it's not playoff. It's not deep playoff run worthy. So,
yeah, the way Toronto looking right now, I'm still expecting, a round 2 exit?
At most, yeah.
Unless Jones gets, Stonewall hot or Matthews literally drags his team.
Yeah.
Which he could.
He could, yeah. Yeah, he very well could, but I don't know. How many years in a row have we talked about Toronto scoring 9 goals a game and trying to make it that way, and they don't do it? It's just not. It's not sustainable. It's just not.
Because come playoffs, people start hitting, and it gets rough. And honestly, this year's Toronto team is tougher than previous.
Yes,
with Toronto, it's always I'll believe it when I see it at this point, right?
Yeah, and it's there's a very clear hole in their roster, and it is defense / goaltending. And I don't know. I don't really know how long you can ignore the problem and expect the same result, or expect a good result at least. So, I don't know. I think Toronto's in trouble still.
Trouble.
Yeah.
Did the William Nylander contract help that trouble?
No, absolutely not.
Should we talk about that?
I seriously did not think he was getting re-signed. I was convinced he was walking.
Okay.
With what cap space?
I might have expected him to stay, but not at this fucking number.
No, I expect if he stayed, this contract makes sense.
11. Okay, the contract, if you haven't heard, 8 years, 11.5 million, starting from next year.
Yeah,
insane.
Yeah, insane. But
that's what Matthews makes right now before his raise.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. Matthews is getting a raise. Nylander's been pulling his weight. Why wouldn't he get a raise?
Well, a raise, sure, but he was making 6-9, so I was expecting him to come in around 10, maybe.
I think he got lowballed in that first deal. I remember a lot of Toronto fans also being mad that he was kind of holding out and his agent was negotiating a deal or whatever, which ended up being a really team friendly deal.
Yeah.
This by no means is a team friendly deal, but I feel like he kind of got lowballed at first. To be completely honest, I really think the whole Toronto core success, whatever the core 4 you want to call is.
Yeah.
I mean, Nylander played a huge role in it, honestly. And I feel like he was getting a little bit underpaid compared to the Marner and Matthews and even Tavares' contract. So,
well, with the exception of this season, he was the fourth best out of those four, right?
sure.
But this season, he's turned on the Jets.
Well, it was a contract year.
Yeah.
A lot of players do this.
But then, this is like what GMs do all the time, though. You can't
Pay for potential.
pay for the 1 year that they're good, right? This freaking Johnny Gaudreau made a career off of doing this.
Yes, but hey, he made a career. That's how the rules work, I guess.
Yeah.
Or in the GM's mind, that's how the rules work.
I mean,
so
I'm not saying William Nylander shouldn't get his money. Like,
Yeah.
get your money. But, like, haven't we seen this movie before? Is
Yeah.
what I'm feeling like.
yeah, half the team salary cap is going to 4 forwards, and I almost think Tavares is like the least worth it right now.
Yeah, probably just because of age.
Yeah, because of
But-
age and just overall production. And I mean, I guess he's got the C on his chest. That's why he's getting his 11 mil. I think it is.
Mhm.
But yeah,
But let's look at this a little more in depth. I just pulled up their cap friendly here.
Mhm.
So you have all four of them signed for this year and for next year. Next year, Matthews goes up to $13.25 million.
Mhm.
William Nylander goes up to $11.5 million. Marner is at $10.9 for next year
Mhm.
and this year, and Tavares is at $11. Both those players need new contracts come 2025.
Mm.
So if you are committing to keeping both of them,
Mhm.
Marner is obviously going to get a raise.
Yes.
So he's at 10.9. Matthews is at 13.25, so he's going to be somewhere under that.
Yeah.
And probably above Willie, right?
Probably. I'm guessing 13.1, 13, somewhere around that range.
Yeah. 12.5 lowest.
Lowest. Yeah.
Somewhere around there. That leaves Tavares, who's at 11 right now, would have to take less, which is what
That makes sense though. He's 33.
yeah, it
Like-
seems plausible.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The question is, do you keep all four? Do you let one of Marner or Tavares go?
I feel like you should trade Tavares. Honestly.
That's your captain.
Yeah.
And-
Captains have been traded before because I'm pretty sure he's also one of the older guys on the roster.
Yes, so Tavares is 33, Matthews and Marner are 26,
Mhm.
Nylander's 27.
Yeah. Okay. So the oldest guy is actually Mark Giordano.
Oh, yeah. Marc
but-
Giordano is the oldest player in the NHL.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow. Yeah, but I feel like just in terms of, it sucks. It's a business and you don't want to let him go, but you have no cap space. 2, you got to think about the future.
Mhm. And you'd rather let Tavares go than Marner.
I mean, wasn't there a debate at the time who was going to wear a C between Austin Matthews and John Tavares? And then
Mhm.
that whole Arizona incident with the security guard came out with Matthews, and then the C went to Tavares.
Yeah.
He's not the same kid from whenever that whole debate was.
Yeah.
Let Tavares go or trade him and let him go and put the C on Matthews or Marner or Nylander or shit. You can even put on Morgan Riley.
I'd argue Marner's more replaceable
Then Tavares? Why?
because he's a winger.
Sure. But
Like, if
wouldn't
you
that-
trade Tavares, your center depth after Austin Matthews is who? Max Domi?
I mean, yeah, he's only here for 1 year or in Toronto for 1 year, right? So
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. You don't have a second line center if you trade Tavares.
isn't there going to be more? I mean, I guess free agency will tell, but
Mm-hmm.
there's got to be younger centers available at that rate at $11 million.
Yeah, or you keep Tavares at maybe, let's say he goes down to 10, you trade Marner, and you get a downgrade on winger, but then
Mhm.
you can upgrade things like defense and
Defense.
goalie.
See, that would make sense, but I think they're so committed to these four, that they almost don't want to do it because of the backlash from the fans,
Mm-hmm.
even though I think that's the right thing to do. I think
And
that's the right thing to do.
That was,
trade one of
that
them.
was the key I wanted to get to. Backlash from the fans.
Mhm.
If you are a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, let's say the average Toronto Maple Leafs fan,
Mhm.
you really like at least one of these four players, maybe even 2 or 3 of them,
Yeah.
right? Which means if you move on from any of them,
Mhm.
you're going to face backlash from your fans.
Of course.
Which means in 2 years, no matter what you do, your fans are not going to be happy with you, with the exception
Of a Stanley Cup.
of a Stanley Cup.
Yeah. The Vegas treatment.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, the fan favorite in Vegas, Marc-Andre Fleury, was shipped out on an elevator.
And everybody was super mad.
And then the
they
Stanley
won a
Cup came and nobody even remembers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
So this is what I'm saying. Toronto has to win now.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah. they don't have more than 2 years under the belt. They really have to win.
Or you're committing to keeping these 4 and just running this back over and over again and hoping you win eventually.
Yeah, insanity, basically. Yeah, it's just not going to happen. I don't know. I personally, I understand where you're coming from, trading the winger and Marner, but the age in Tavares, and you could also find another center for cheaper value, I think. And truly, I think part of the reason these contracts are so outrageous is it's expensive to live in Canada, especially Toronto.
Yeah.
And that's why Kucherov is getting paid 9.5, which is probably more than whatever Matthews is making here.
I mean, let's not talk about the tax discrepancy. That's why, Dallas and Tampa are able to get away with highway robbery.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think the smart, logical thing to do is if you want to win a Stanley Cup, you got to part ways with one of them. Pick which one you want, but you got to part ways with one of them.
Complicating this, they made the mistake that bothers me the most.
What?
They gave them all no movement clauses.
Oh, I mean, what did you expect? If they're trying to avoid backlash from fans, make
it a 3-team trade list.
Yeah.
Some out. You need to leave yourself some out.
Yeah.
Like the William Nylander full no movement clause.
Yeah. For 8 years. Yeah.
Like, even if you were paying him 11.5, even if you had to pay him 12 to agree to a 3-team trade list, I think that's a better contract.
I agree. Yeah. Because at least you can get a three-team trade in and kind of
you can get cap some sort of, you have some opening.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. I mean, they could always waive it, right? Like the player can waive it.
Yeah, but that's the idea, right? You have to wait for the player to agree.
Yeah. Yeah. So they, in that sense, they kind of shot themselves.
Why do you think Vegas was able to ship out Fleury?
Yeah.
Because they don't give people no movement clauses.
Yeah. Yeah. And I that you can say that speaks to the loyalty of these players or their faith in these players. I just don't realistically see it happening. Their defense is not good enough. Martin Jones can't carry this franchise forever. He's not young by any means.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Well, let's see. If Toronto doesn't win this year or next year, there's going to be big changes.
You may have to blow it up, which we've been saying for a while, but it actually for real may have to happen this time.
It's a perfect time for Matthews to come to San Jose.
With that contract? Oh, I guess we have the space, actually.
We'd have the space by then. That's what I'm saying. In 2 years.
True.
We'd be ready.
Yeah, he was born in San Ramon, so.
Shall we move on to the middle of Canada?
Yeah.
Winnipeg Jets are a monster.
Yeah, remember when we said they were going to be tested with this Kyle Connor injury?
Yeah.
And they somehow got better, went to the top of the league.
And he's back. Insane. Like, I am grateful that he is back. He's a great fucking player.
Of course, yeah.
I am thankful that he is back.
Yeah.
But he was quoted a 6 to 8 week timetable return.
Mm-hmm.
He's back in 5 and he's already scoring.
Yeah.
That is insane.
The thing that scares me the most about this Winnipeg team is there's a lot of parallels between them right now and the Colorado Avalanche.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when everyone was like saying Joe Sakic was crazy for waiting so long on this Duchesne trade?
Yeah.
They traded him and a good team just became or not even a good team. They were bad. They were bad, but they were like kind of close. There's especially when you have this like locker room cancer that Duchesne was being labeled as.
Mm-hmm.
You could argue that was the PLD for Winnipeg. He gets traded. All of a sudden, you got, Hellebuck signing a long contract. You got Scheifele signing a huge contract. Everyone's all of a sudden buying in and everything's falling into place.
And Gabe Vilardi.
Isn't that what happened in Colorado?
Yeah. And Gabe Vilardi and Alex Iafallo, the two pieces they got from the Kings.
Huge.
They look so good.
Yeah. And that also happened from the Duchesne trade.
Yeah.
I mean, if any of those, if even half that trade panned out, it was great.
So,
and that's what's happening here in Winnipeg.
So what you're predicting for Winnipeg then is a second round exit this year and then winning the next year.
I mean, they look significantly better, yes. So I think they need to get some playoff experience because they didn't.
They have playoff experience.
Sure,
most of this team is the late 2010s. The Jets were a force.
Yes, but they didn't. I'm talking about recently. They were eliminated twice by Vegas, I think, and then one other time by some other Central team. I can't remember right now, but they don't have deep playoff experience. I think once they get a little bit taste of that, then they'll go all the way to the Cup.
They made a Western Conference final in what, 19?
18, I think 18? It was against, and then Vegas just killed them. Swept them, I think, or it was 5 games. I can't remember.
That was the year Vegas just went on the Cinderella run, right?
Yeah. But still, I think, and this is also a much different team. There's no Dustin Byfuglien or whatever, so
No
Patrick
Blake
Laine.
Wheeler.
Yeah, Blake Wheeler. So I think this is a very different identity Winnipeg team, but I think it's a stronger team. Once they get that deep playoff chemistry, I think the league should be scared. I think this is the next Colorado Avalanche in the making.
Wow, that's big praise.
Yeah.
Crazy stat for the Jets. They have now gone 33 consecutive games, only allowing 3 or fewer goals.
Insanity. Insane.
There is a world where the Western Conference final is Vancouver versus Winnipeg.
I would love to see it. I would love to see Canada win. I don't know why. I mean, we all know why it's Gary Bettman's fault, but
just fan the flames of that rumor.
Yeah, but no, I would love to see Canada. I would love to see 2 Canadian teams in the finals, honestly. So, yeah, Winnipeg's a force to be reckoned with.
Winnipeg Toronto final?
Sure, I'm in. I'm all in for sure.
What burns the country down more, Winnipeg Toronto or Vancouver Toronto?
Vancouver, because they have a track record.
Oh, yeah.
So they've proved they can do it twice. Yeah. Right. But yeah, Winnipeg is scary. And I predict they're going to be the next Colorado Avalanche.
Okay. Big words. Mm-hmm. All right. Moving on to some goalie talk.
Sure.
Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah.
Is now the second winningest goalie of all time.
Huge. I mean, he won't beat Brodeur. He's too far away, but yeah, huge congratulations to him.
Just for the quick stats for you non-stat nerds out there, Martin Brodeur 691 wins in 1,266 games.
Mm-hmm.
Marc-Andre Fleury 552 wins in 1,007 games. And third is Patrick Waugh with 551 wins in 1,029 games.
I didn't realize he beat Patrick Waugh by a couple games. Not even 50 games. Yeah, like
less games played.
Yeah,
you mean?
Less games played. 22 games. Yeah.
Yeah, he has less games played than number 3, who's Waugh, and number 4, who's Luongo.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's crazy. Yeah. And so before we started recording this, you were saying something about Fleury.
Yeah.
Being labeled as a team success?
Yeah. Do you believe Marc-Andre Fleury is a Hall of Fame goaltender?
Yes. Hell yeah.
There are some people who adamantly believe no.
Like who? The people who are lonely on Reddit?
Maybe, but I see it a lot from particularly, of course, this is anecdotal and all online, so who knows? Might just be trolls.
Yeah.
But particularly Pittsburgh fans.
They're saying they're not. He's not.
Because between the 2009 Cup and the 16-17 Cups, there were some lean years for Fleury.
Sure. Didn't we say a couple podcasts ago that it's very rare for a goalie to just be this good for this long? Like, it's very rare there's a franchise goalie, right? Like,
yes.
Teams are usually just swapping goalies in and out and something works, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very rare you have a Carey Price or Dominic Hasek or Martin Brodeur or, Tim Thomas or
Vasilevsky.
Vasilevsky, yeah. Fleury is still playing and he's close to 40, if not 40 at this point. And he just moved to second all time. I don't know how this seems like a slam dunk Hall of Fame, in my opinion. And he's got 3 cups to his name.
Well, then the argument for the cups is that 2 of them are more Matt Murray's cups than his. Which I hate that argument.
I hate that argument, yeah. I really do.
Let's be real. In 2016, Matt Murray played through the playoffs, but who got them there? Fleury.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it just doesn't happen that way.
In 2017, Fleury played the first 2 rounds.
Yes. Yes, yeah. I really hate that argument. And are we just going to ignore the fact that Detroit almost made that Game 6 into Game 7 if it wasn't for that diving save from Fleury?
Yeah. I mean, that's what got him famous,
We're just going to pretend that didn't happen?
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not a huge Penguins fan myself, but give credit where it's due. Like, this is definitely a Hall of Fame goaltender. I can't believe it's even being debated, honestly.
And if it wasn't for the animal that was peak Carey Price, Fleury would have been Team Canada's goalie.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and, Carey Price is borderline untouchable. That man is like crazy. How good he was. If you haven't seen Pete Carey Price, go turn this podcast off. Go watch some of those highlights.
Yeah,
and go bask in that glory because that was an insane run. But yeah, I think this is a slam dunk for sure.
Mm-hmm. I think now that he's gotten in second place, I can't see.
How do you argue
second place
it?
Over 1,000 games played? Like, you have to.
You have to. Yeah, and he has 3 cups. He has 3 cups. Like, some goalies don't have any. I don't think Roberto Luongo has any.
He does not.
Yeah. There you go.
Brodeur and Waugh have a bunch. Yeah, but yeah.
Stats wise and just in general wise, I don't know how you can argue against.
Let's be real. We all love Fleury just for personality.
Yeah.
Fleury pranks are some of the joy I find in hockey.
We're gonna miss him once he's gone.
Oh yeah.
Then all you Reddit trolls who were talking bad about him.
No one else can mess with Crosby's equipment and live.
Yeah. He's way too superstitious about anything. Yeah.
But Fleury will do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
One more goalie
to talk about. Mr. Elvis Merzlikins.
Yeah.
The Columbus Blue Jackets.
Mm-hmm.
This was kind of weird.
It is a little weird. Yeah.
So on the 12th of January, he stated, I did not request, or not he, it was stated by the team and some of the insiders that follow the team that he did not request a trade, but that Columbus has agreed to find a new scenario for him.
Yeah. Whatever that means.
Whatever that means, right? And then it wasn't until a few days ago that he clarified, no, I did request a trade.
Mm-hmm.
So
to the media, he clarified this?
I think it was in a post-game interview. Now that Merzlikins is looking for a trade, does that make him the hottest goalie come trade deadline?
I mean, I think so. His cap hit is pretty significant. I think it's a little over $5 million. So it's hard to like justify for teams such as, I guess Edmonton doesn't really need a goal anymore. But
I mean,
Toronto,
Edmonton again. Let's see how long this lasts.
Yeah,
right?
Sure. Yeah. But yeah, for teams like Toronto that are cap strapped, it's hard to justify that. But I mean, someone will bite at the deadline. Someone has to bite at the deadline. I would be surprised if he's still a Blue Jacket. Come March. So
this is the thing. His cap hit is 5.4.
Yeah,
like you said. He has a .906 save percentage, which is about league average.
Yeah.
But his quote was also that I am not a backup goaltender.
Mm-hmm.
So he wants a starting job.
Sure.
But I don't think any team that's going to be buying a goalie is looking for a starter necessarily, right? Like the ones that could have were Edmonton.
Yeah.
Who is somehow sorted out their situation for now.
Yeah.
Toronto maybe
they don't
would want
money.
some. Yeah, they don't have the money.
Yeah.
Who else?
I mean, so are you saying that a team that needs him is buying before the trade deadline?
Yeah, a team. I'm looking for a team that is expecting to make the playoffs and needs a starting goalie, not a backup, a starter.
Okay.
A lot of the teams that need goalies need backups.
Yeah.
Or like at least a 1A, 1B type.
So is this just his own ego speaking, or is it more of a cap hit thing?
I think it's an ego thing. I mean, he's not wrong.
Yeah.
906 save percentage.
No, yeah. That's that's a stacked goalie tandem if he is a backup. But
yeah.
You know what I could see? I could see this becoming if any playoff team suddenly has a goalie hurt right before the deadline, that's when they pick him up.
Yeah.
That's how I see it happening.
Yeah, because he's playing behind Tarasov and Spencer Martin, so he's not happy with that.
Yeah.
Maybe Philly is an option.
I mean Philly's they're supposed to be rebuilding, but unexpectedly
good. And Carter Hart has known to be streaky.
Yeah. I don't know. You can't really label him as a backup goalie in that situation, but if you have two good goalies that you can switch off in the playoffs, it worked for Pittsburgh, as we just discussed. So if
he's okay not being on a contending team, then there's options.
Yes,
there's Arizona, there's Anaheim, where Gibson's getting older.
Yeah,
San Jose will probably need someone at some point.
San Jose needs everyone.
Blackwood's been good, but who knows how long that lasts?
Yeah.
Chicago needs someone.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's okay not being on a contender,
there's
options.
Of course, there's plenty of options.
If he wants to go to a contender, then I'm just pulling up the standings here. Like, there's not really a starting job. There's plenty of backups. Like Colorado could probably use a backup upgrade.
Yeah. Honestly, Georgiev has been streaky himself. There's times where he's lights out in Colorado, and there's other times where he allows 6 goals. Yeah, you know what I mean.
That's what I'm saying. A backup upgrade.
Yeah.
They need a backup.
But if is that a backup or is that more of a 1A, 1B type of situation?
I'd assume it's a backup. Like he's been good enough that come playoffs, they're starting him. Right?
Okay. Got it. Yeah. Let's see. I mean, if he really doesn't want to do a backup goaltending, it's going to be difficult to play in the playoffs this year.
Maybe Carolina. I didn't think of Carolina. With their Antti Ranta and Freddie Anderson still out.
Yeah. You're right.
Carolina's an option.
Yeah.
But then again, that would require trading within the division.
Yes. I don't think the Blue Jackets are going to make the playoffs anytime soon, though.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, but I don't know. I think he has options. It's just do you want to compete for the cup this year or later?
Yeah.
That's really what it boils down to. So
we'll see.
Yeah.
I will keep an eye on it. And, trade deadline's coming up. So
Yeah, it is.
Expect some players on the move.
Yep.
Got anything else for this episode?
No, I think we talked a lot. There was honestly so much to catch up on, but we'll get there, and it's only going to heat up, as you said, trade deadline.
Yep. Bit of a long one today, but hope you guys enjoyed it. This has been Glass Seats. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, and Google. We are also on YouTube and Instagram. The handle for those two platforms is at Spud Network Podcasts, where you can check out this show and you can check out all of our other shows. We'll see you next week.
Bye.